Under the same roof, we share the love. Embracing the differences like hand in glove. Spreading peace and joy, it's a beautiful sight. Together we shine in each other's light. And now do we stand in love's pure might. Watching the world share in love and light. Hearts beating as one in our peaceful flight. Colors of harmony painting the night. United we stand in love's pure might.
Ladies and gentlemen, we'd like to extend a warm welcome to each and every one of you to Watching the World, our weekly legal review with criminal defense attorney Calvin Johnson, one of the best to do it. Tonight, we're diving into one of the most explosive stories in America right now, the shooting in Minneapolis involving the U.S. ICE agents and the death of Renee Good. The nation is divided. Protests are erupting even here in New York City, all the way down to Texas and beyond. Tonight, we get a chance to ask Calvin Johnson questions of importance to help us navigate such a terrible time in our history. And so at this point, we'd like to welcome you on. Calvin, how are you doing?
Man, I'm doing great, man. It's been a crazy week, an eventful week. The country has been in turmoil and constant argument about what happened to Renee Good in Minnesota, amongst other things. So this is going to be a very interesting show tonight.
What do you think about the big argument right now? Seems to be on every social media, whether or not the man was standing in front of the car, whether or not she hit him or herself or his cell phone dropped and that created the noise. What do you think about all this?
You know, everything looked like it was bang, bang, extremely close. But if you're telling me that he had to shoot her 3 times because he feared for his life, I don't see that. I don't agree with that. I think with our politics currently in America, we're going to look at that through our political lens. And that's what's been interesting. It seems like everybody looks at this through the political lens of everything. And they want to be able to justify their politics with how they feel about the Renee Good situation. And that's the unfortunate part because the young lady lost her life. Did she hit him? I don't think she hit him. And even if he was hit or grazed by that car, did he have to shoot her in the head 3 times as she drove away? I just don't know about all of that. That's extremely questionable. And I think there's a lot of different opinions that's all over the map. But we're here also to discuss some of those legal points tonight. And we're going to have a conversation about that.
How is it possible to take a hit and still get off 3 shots?
And see, that's what I'm talking about. It's ended up being a situation where allegedly he got hit and that he was able to shoot 3 times. And when I say 3 times, it's like she's already driving away at a certain point, and you get off 3 full shots at her. And then, and more importantly, we're going to talk about the 3 shots and what he said after the 3 shots. He said effing bitch after the 3 shots. And that is also telling about his mindset and that he was doing it also out of anger, not what his training was showing him what to do. But with that being said, I have some concerns about the government trying to justify what he did that day.
Yes, indeed. Brian, I'm going to go through that video tonight that you're referring to. Thank you so much for the strong support and helping us lead the way. Calvin, so what do you think? Every time it seems that we're getting over one hump, we get hit by another one, all while trying to figure out where the hell are those Epstein files?
And see, that's what I'm talking about. We're not even talking about that this week as much as we should be. Well, the Epstein files, they were on Pam Bondi's desk. And the last time I checked, it doesn't take a whole year to release some damn files. All we've heard is a bunch of excuses. We've had Venezuela attacked and some ICE agents basically shoot an American citizen in their head and watch her crash into other cars doing an ICE raid in Minnesota. So Without that being said, I am still looking forward to seeing the Epstein Files. We got a comment. Somebody said that was straight cold out blooded murder. And you know what? I can't argue with somebody who says that. I don't think that was necessary to do. But people on the right definitely are justifying that.
So I want to take a moment now. If you believe that the officer was struck by her vehicle, put a 1 in the chat. Put a 2 if you think she did not hit him with the vehicle. So let us know what you think in regards just to those 2 answers, and then we'll see how that turns out. So Calvin, let me ask you this question. Does it appear that there was some major protest happening as ICE was trying to come in and perhaps apprehend some people? It looked like maybe even she had put her car in the way of traffic. Is that the mood when you're watching these videos?
I think it is. And I think when you bring in, I think it was a protest because from what I've been told, there were 3,000 ICE officers being dropped in Minnesota. The inner city Minnesota Police Department only consists of 450 to 500 officers. So you have 6 times as many officers that are ICE officers being dropped on the city that they're even 5-1 over the police force. And that's a crazy amount of force to allegedly do some kind of immigration operation. And I think that it's the regular people were protesting that because they saw all of that, and it's very concerning. And so when you have 5 times the amount of federal forces coming to your city that's bigger than your police department, of course people are going to protest. And I think that should be expected.
Right. Is there an issue with them assembling to try to get in the way of ICE when they're, because this has become a big deal. It's happening here in New York. There's organized people, in fact, in the video, you could hear one person blowing a whistle. So how does the law look at that?
I think ultimately, you can do what you want to do in terms of blowing the whistle. They're not going to be able to do anything about that. I don't think you should be placing yourself, your body, or your car vehicles in the way of federal vehicles that are trying to get through and partake in an operation. I don't think we should be doing that. But with that being said, even in that video, it seems to me that the federal vehicle stopped. It looked like they could have went around based off where she was stopped at without even saying that she was impeding them. But with that being said, I don't think you should place yourself in the way of federal officials or federal vehicles when they're doing an ICE operation. However, you have every right to blow your whistle and let people know what's going on in your communities.
Okay. What do you expect as far as from the local court system? Do you think this individual, the officer, will ultimately receive any time?
It's questionable. What happens is, and I want to go through this analysis, the United States Supremacy Clause is going to go into effect. And people, what is the United States Supremacy Clause? Basically, if a federal official is charged for a state crime while doing his duties, that federal official can have that state case moved to federal court. Now, he'll be tried in federal court, but using state law and state rules. And so what's going to happen is if he was to go and be charged with something, it would get moved to the federal court, probably by the federal government or by the defense attorney that's stepping in for the officer. And that in that situation, they would have a state case being tried in federal court. Now, what happens in that situation, if he gets found guilty, then he'll get found guilty of a state crime, and the state will have the opportunity to arrest him, find him guilty, place him in jail for some years. However, if the president tries to come in and pardon that federal ICE officer, the federal official, he will not be able to because that person was convicted of state crimes, and the president does not have the right to give out federal pardons. So the Supremacy Clause would come into effect. It would move that state prosecution of this individual to the federal courts. And if he got found guilty in the federal courts, he could not get a pardon from President Trump, because the governor would hold that power. And whatever happens after that point right there, he would have to either get sentenced or go to jail, depending on what a federal jury would say.
What do you think it would take to cool heads when it comes to this matter? It seems to be exploding.
Well, unfortunately, we need some kind of federal immigration policy, and both sides are really not rushing to do it. The Democrats would probably want a lot more open borders than the Republicans would want. The Republicans don't want to, even though they have all three of the houses, they don't really want to pass anything when it comes to immigration law, because they're able to run on it. They're able to weaponize the fact that that the immigration is a problem. They're able to tell their base, we're going to get rid of this immigration, and we're going to do it with federal law enforcement instead of actually passing a law to do that. It's one of those things where I don't know how we get out of this. This is just going to be a really, really bad situation for both parties, for both sides of America.
DJ's 18 says nobody talks about the woman's rap sheet. Convicted felon, child abuser, more than likely a drug addict. She obstructed a federal officer attempted to strike him with her 4,000-pound vehicle.
I'll say this: that's a typical response. Always look at the person's criminal history and then try to rake them over the coals with it, regardless of the situation, regardless of what that person had done in their past life. I don't think they deserve to have their head blown off. Let's be honest. She's turning her wheels, driving away. That's how she was able to drive away and hit the pole in the vehicles that were in front of her. She's driving away from that situation. Did you have to blow her head off? It's one of those things where the other side likes to excuse the behavior of the officers. They want to justify the officers' conditions. They want to justify the officers' actions. But at the same time, was there a need to blow her head literally completely off for 3 shots? And it's just unfortunate.
Some people in the audience are saying that if he is tried and convicted, the president of the United States could pardon him. Could you explain again how this could land under the state and he would not be able to be pardoned?
Let me explain something to you, y'all. No, he cannot. I know you may have an opinion about it, but the lawyer is here to tell you that that's not going to happen. Because of the supremacy clause of the United States, go take a look. He would get convicted of a state crime. The president does not have the authority to pardon somebody who gets found guilty of a state crime. An example of that is, remember the lady that got caught doing election fraud, or not say election fraud, but they said that she was fixing elections in Colorado, or she was tampering with elections in Colorado, and President Trump tried to pardon her, and they would not let him pardon her because she got found guilty of a state crime. So that's the thing. That's the how it is. The president would not be able to pardon this individual if he gets charged with a state crime and get found guilty. Now, he would have to get charged and found guilty. But if he is charged in federal court for a state crime and he gets a state crime conviction, the president will not be able to pardon him. And that's the last of that conversation I'll have tonight, because it becomes an argument between folks. But that's already been researched, and we've already been come to a conclusion with that.
Okay, very good. A lot of people in the audience have been saying you don't see her hit him. I'm talking about this last video that was put out. You hear the sound. It sounds like a hit. Some people are saying it's the sound of her cell phone or his cell phone hitting the ground or the whatever, right?
Yeah.
You have any position on that?
It could have been the cell phone hitting the ground, because that cell phone was pretty heavy. They also carry walkie-talkies and stuff like that. We just don't know what hit. But with that being said, it seems like he was to the side of the vehicle. She was turning her wheel in another direction and driving away. I just don't think that 3 full shots in that situation was needed. And that's just something that I have grave concerns about.
What are your thoughts about JD Vance saying that the officer had immunity?
Um, he is trying to calm down his base. He wants to support his base. He's going to try to say that that officer has immunity, but they don't have immunity from state prosecutions. They may have immunity from federal prosecutions, but if the state decides to charge him, he will not have that kind of immunity extended to the state level.
Okay, very good. Are you shocked by some of the words that have come from the president of the United States in regards to this matter?
No, that's who he is. Um, he's kind of cold hearted when it comes to people who don't agree with him, and that's just the truth. And I think that I think that everybody needs to understand something. If you are on the side of the president, you have every right to do that. That's great for you. If you're on the other side, hey, that can be troublesome for you. But with that being said, everybody needs to realize if you're not on the president's side, he's treating you like a foreign enemy, not an American citizen who has a disagreement with him. He's treating you like an enemy. He's going to treat you as bad as he would treat somebody from a foreign country, and that's just his behavior, and that's what he is. That's what he has done on a repeated basis. That's how he feels about people who don't agree with him, who did not vote his way. He feels like that about people in the larger metropolitan areas. He feels like that about people in the blue states. He could care less what happens to them. And there's nothing wrong with admitting that. And he has every right as president to feel how he feels. But with that being said, that's the environment that we're living in. And that's the most concerning environment right now because he is fanning the flames of everything that's happening in America. If you're waiting for him to be a great uniter in America between the left and the right, that's just not going to happen. And we need to move forward with the understanding that that is not going to happen. Now, he has every right to do that, to be how he is. But that there needs to be an understanding that that no longer is the expectation. And the president is going to be how he's going to be. It does not surprise me that he is talking what we would call extremely reckless about somebody getting their head blown off in an alleged ICE immigration situation.
When you watch the video and the officer is circling her vehicle and she's basically saying something like, "You need to go have dinner," something to that effect, do you think she provoked him in any way?
I think that was the wife or her wife that did that.
Oh, that's the wife? Okay.
And I don't think that you should do that with law enforcement officers. I don't think you should provoke them, but they receive training not to get provoked easily. And they just can't, you can't use their words unless you're threatening them. You could say what you want to say. She wasn't threatening or cursing him out. And as an officer, that's just something that they teach you in training that you can't take action against somebody because of their language towards you, unless that language is threatening. And in that situation, I don't think that language is threatening. Now, is that the smart thing to do? I don't think you should do that. I don't think you should try to provoke an officer doing their job out there or a federal agent. But with that being said, you are within your right to be able to say that to that particular officer in a situation. And some people may say, well, she got what she deserved because of the way she was talking to the officer. You don't get to just line people up and start shooting at them or arrest them because you don't like what they're saying to you.
Okay. Oftentimes, while watching cops and other law shows, you see people pulling away from the officers. Is it lawful or any circumstance when an officer can shoot in a vehicle that's leaving?
When a vehicle is leaving, they should not be able to shoot at a vehicle that's leaving. Now, with that being said, if the vehicle is trying to hit him or he fears for his life, then he is allowed to be able to take appropriate action. But the big argument in this situation is going to be, did she drive toward him and hit him? And even if she did, was he in fear for his life because she's basically driving away from the situation? So that's going to be the big argument that everybody is going to continue to have their opinions about while we go through this process.
Some people say the officer should not have been in front of her vehicle. Is there a thing in law where you can look back and say such and such should not have done this or should have did this?
I don't think he has to think about it like that. I wouldn't have placed myself in front of a vehicle, but he doesn't have a duty not to be in front of her vehicle. If they're trying to detain her, typically, sometimes people will get between the person and the vehicle to make sure the vehicle does not move. I don't think it's the smartest thing to do, but that is what it is. And I would be concerned about placing myself in front of a vehicle that's driving away. I thought he could have handled that situation differently and better, but that's just what I think.
What are your thoughts about the governor initially saying that ICE needs to get the F out of the city?
I think he feels like that. I wouldn't encourage that kind of talk coming from a governor or a city leader. But with that being said, he has an obligation to protect his citizens. He feels like the presence of ICE is making things more dangerous and it's not making things safer. And I definitely understand how he feels. He has an obligation first to the citizens of his city and the state of Minnesota above all. And I think he feels like he was just doing what he needed to do to make sure that those people were okay.
Okay, very good. I want to switch up a little bit. On Monday of last week, I was in court with Nicolás Maduro, and I kind of want to go through some of the points and get your point of view on the matter. When I was in court, basically I'm like 4 rows behind Nicolás Maduro, but when he walks out, he's smiling as though he's not even incarcerated. What do you think is happening there?
Well, he still wants to show the appearance of strength to the people of Venezuela. One thing you don't want to do, and especially in Latin and Hispanic culture, they're going to put themselves out there as very strong men, very strong leaders. He still is the president of Venezuela, as far as he is concerned, and he wants to put out an aura of strength. He doesn't want to come out feeble, crying, looking defeated, because he still wants his people to know that he should still be in control and that he was wrongfully taken out of control. And he's not going to let the Trump administration, along with the American government, break him. That's typical behavior from a leader such as Maduro.
Okay. The judge had asked him, "Are you guilty or not guilty?" But because there's an interpreter there and you have the language barrier, he went on a tangent, I would say, and he roughly said, "I didn't do anything wrong. I am the president of Venezuela. I was kidnapped on Saturday." Do you think that this whole kidnapping persona is going to sway this case in any way?
It might not sway this case in any way, but he's going to, like I said, he's going to put himself out there as a strong leader, and he wants to portray this action as one that is unlawful based on what happened to him. So that's exactly why he is acting like he's acting and he's saying what he's saying.
If him and his wife both have charges, same charges, I'm just curious. A lot of people were expecting them to show up in separate cases, but they showed up together. Will that happen throughout the entire trial?
It will, because they're in the same case together based on whatever the federal government has. They're going to be indicted together. They're probably going to be tried together, and that's going to be that.
Wow, and this could happen the entire time. So they would, if one gets 10 years, the other one just gets 10 years?
Yes. No, the sentencing can be different for either. So they would get tried together. Their sentencing would be different based on a number of different factors: previous criminal history, background, experiences. They won't get the same sentence specifically. They could get the same sentence, but it's not automatic that they get the same sentence if they're tried together.
Okay, there's some sort of feature that was involved in the proceeding, something like consular or something where they're entitled to receive some sort of counseling or consultant coming in from Venezuela to help with the case. Could
Mm-hmm.
you explain how that works?
Typically, what they're going to do is make sure that they have Venezuelan legal advice, because he still feels like there's going to be an issue with not just American law, but international law. So what they're going to try to do is make sure that they have legal representation from Venezuela, so that during the process of going through this case, that he advises the Venezuelan president on what he can do, what's available for him, what his rights are under international law, and what he should do based on all those factors.
Okay. Why would he have a public defendant when they have billions of dollars?
Well, you got an issue. Number one, you got to show where you got the money from. In addition to that, um, you don't want to be spending your money fighting the federal government. You want to make sure that they pay for you to be able to make that fight. And it just depends, especially you're coming from a foreign country to an American court. And so that's probably why things are the way they are.
Right. And as I had said previously, his wife's face seems to be bruised extremely. What do you think about something like that affecting the case?
Well, I think probably a lot of that is when they probably took her into custody. She probably fought some. I mean, I don't think she's going to be willingly go into custody. It's just that that's a bad look, especially if she's a woman. If she's all beat up, I would have high concerns about that.
Okay. When it comes to Russia and Ukraine, one of the big points of interest is that the United States was basically telling Russia they need to keep their hands off, and Russia went in, spent all this money. A lot of lives have been lost. And now the United States is pretty much overthrowing Venezuela, what Russia was trying to do to Ukraine. What do you think about the circus?
And then that's what it is, man. It's a circus. And the reason why I think it's a circus is because you're trying to tell Russia what to do, right? And you're basically doing the same thing in Venezuela. And they're not even anywhere close to you as a country. So how can America tell Russia what to do when it comes to Ukraine and we're doing the same thing in Venezuela?
Do you think that this whole operation has shown Russia to not be as solid as many people thought they were? Not being able to take over Ukraine, and the United States just went in like a breeze and picked up the dictator or president in hours.
I think everybody kind of knows Russia isn't as strong as it used to be. The only thing is they do have nuclear weapons, but I think they lack the current updating of their military fleet. I don't think that their jets have the latest technology. I don't think that their weapons have the latest technology. So I think that we have out technology them. And in addition to that, I don't think financially they're in a good position because of the Ukrainian people and the way that they have fought them off. So I think that there's just a number of factors there. Russia isn't what Russia used to be.
Okay, Candyman says CNN video forensics expert said Renee Good attacked John with her car.
Well, I don't see it that way. I see that she was trying to get away. I see that she turned her car to try to get away. And I don't think that if somebody's trying to turn their car to get away, that you gotta shoot them. You gotta shoot them in the head. I just don't. I don't think that that was the right resolution. I don't think that was the right reaction. But people are entitled to their opinions, and we'll see what the law says.
Okay. Do you have any concern about China with Taiwan based on what's happening with the United States, Venezuela, and Russia with Ukraine?
I do. And see, that's the delicate thing about foreign policy. When you go in and you decide to go in on Venezuela like this, it's going to affect your foreign policy with China and Taiwan. It's going to affect your foreign policy with North Korea and South Korea. It's going to affect your foreign policy with Russia and Ukraine. These are the things that you're going to have to worry about when you decide to go in and take over a country like you did with Venezuela. You have now reset the bar, and now people want to step over that line.
Okay. What do you expect happening next in regards to Maduro? And as far as Russia and China, do you think we're going to get any major backlash?
I don't think we get any major black backlash right now. I think they're going to watch and see what happens. They're also going to see what the American courts do. And they're also going to see what Mr. Trump is doing in terms of the resources of Venezuela. If he goes in and tries to take all of the resources, don't be surprised if Russia and China become a little bit more aggressive in dealing with our country.
Okay. All right. We have quite a few people here. Please hit the like button, share, and subscribe. We appreciate the support. Calvin, could you take a moment and tell everyone what you do?
My name is Attorney Calvin D. Johnson. I'm a practicing attorney here in Dallas, Texas. I've done local, state, and federal criminal defense. I'll be going into my 25th year of practicing criminal defense law. I've done a lot of federal cases. I also hold 2 degrees from Howard Payne University, which are a bachelor's in science and history and political science double major. In addition to that, I also hold a Juris Doctorate from St. Mary's University School of Law. And even before I started going to college, I went to the high school for public services, government and law magnet downtown Dallas, in Dallas Independent School District. So I have been involved in politics, government, and law ever since I was about 13 years old. And like I said, I've been a practicing attorney almost for a quarter century at this point. I'll be 25 years practicing next year. And so me and Mel have decided to take on a number of cases when it comes to the Diddy trial, some of the federal stuff, some of the stuff that's happening with Trump, and some of the hotter cases that are happening across America. And we've decided to get together, work, and give the people some advice on what they can do, what they can't do, and give a lot of legal insight for the people. And that's what we're doing.
All right. Could you tell us what made you so passionate about this?
What made me so passionate about what this being a lawyer, or just this case within itself?
Coming on the show and helping everybody navigate through all these cases. Since Diddy, it's been a long time, brother.
Yeah, you know what? I'm so passionate because what I saw is I saw a lot of YouTubers come on, and don't get me wrong, and we even had some issues with some guy. I forgot his name. What was his name? Sean G. Yeah,
Sean G. Yeah.
yeah. A guy came on and just as I started the podcast with Mel, attacked me, said I didn't know what was going on with Diddy and I was going to get it wrong, and you lawyers this and you lawyers that. And sometimes you have a lot of sour grape type of guys that come on that got convicted of some crimes that went to jail, and they want to blame their lawyers and not take any uh, responsibility themselves, personal responsibility. You don't want to be getting advice from guys that feel that way. You want a good, unbiased, straightforward talk of a real attorney like myself that can give you really, really good advice. I give an example. I was one of the few people on the internet who predicted Diddy's sentence almost to the month. I said between 51 and 63 months. He got 50 months. And I did that based off of what Mel was telling me, because Mel was going to the trial every day. And then also all of the factors. And as I saw everybody across YouTube, I wanted to be different. I wanted to give good advice. I wanted people to hear some good, grounded advice about what they could do or what was going to happen in these type situations when you have somebody that's in trouble like a Sean Puffy Combs under the circumstances that he has. Not only that, just day-to-day legal advice, day-to-day legal situations, and understanding the court system better. So that's why I was so adamant about doing the show with Mel. And now we're almost 6 months in at this point, Mel, that we've been doing this. And we want to provide the people with an outlet to get some good information about these cases.
Okay. Tomorrow, we start the case of L.A. Reid. A lot of people may not be familiar with L.A. Reid, but he has some serious allegations on a civil case. I won't say to the extent of Sean Diddy Combs because I haven't heard the facts, but we will be in court tomorrow to bring you guys the updates on this case as well.
I can give you some information in terms of, if you don't understand who L.A. Reid is, I'm also a music aficionado. L.A. Reid was a member of the deal. He was part of one of the most successful recording, producing duos in R&B history. R&B and pop history was L.A. and Babyface. And he ran LaFace Records, who signed Outkast, who signed a number of Usher, a number of different artists on that particular label signed to LaFace Records. And L.A. Reid is an icon. And when I say all time in soul and R&B music, the duo of L.A. Reid and Babyface is top 5 all time ever, period. So what's happening is you're going to have a situation upon which, there have been allegations. some of the same allegations that were leveled against Diddy about grooming, sexual things, pressuring people to do things that they did not want to do. And so those are the types of things that that we got to think about when it comes to L.A. Reid. And the reason why they're comparing it to Diddy is because L.A. Reid is one of the most successful music moguls in history, based off of all the stuff that he's done, all the records he produced, and all the acts he signed, and that very successful label of LaFace. They also represent. They also put out Pebbles, the hip hop group TLC. I mean, we're talking about legendary, a legendary a person when it comes to L.A. Reid. So that's a very important case.
Okay, very good. I want to show you some video footage. I just need a second here. Maybe you could take a moment and just tell everybody how to reach you as far as the, online and so forth while I pull up the video.
Okay, my name is Attorney Calvin D. Johnson. I can be reached at the email of attorneycalvindjohnson@gmail.com. And in addition to that, I can be reached at the phone number of 214-565-5600, or I can be reached on my website at theywon'tletmeout.com. So there's several ways to be able to get in touch with me and to be able to reach me. So that's how you get in touch with me.
Okay, very good. Thank you very much for that. Hopefully you can hear this video. Okay, Calvin, could you just narrate what's happening here?
Okay. Basically, what's happening is they're walking up to her vehicle. She's on the driver's side in the driver's side seat. Her girlfriend or her wife is on the other side of the vehicle. And the ICE agents are going to pull up, and they're going to try to detain her and ask her to get out of the car. But to be honest, one officer told her to get out of here, and one officer told her to get out the car. So there was two officers, from what I know, that was giving conflicting instructions.
Okay.
Well,
who do we have here?
and basically, that's her car. She's in the driver's seat. You have an officer, I think, that's getting ready to walk up to her. I think her car is in the road. I think the officer is trying to get around her car, and I think that's when he starts talking to her.
That's fine, dude. I'm not mad at you.
Okay, what's happening there?
She's talking to the officer. The officer's walking up on her. She's telling the officer, I guess he's fussing at her, and she's basically saying, "I'm fine, dude. I'm not mad at you." So she's not really running her mouth toward him really bad. She said she's not mad at him. So I don't think she is being very antagonistic.
Show your face. I'm not mad at you. That's okay. We don't change our plates every morning, just so you know. It'll be the same plate when you come talk to us later.
And that's the girlfriend who's come in and tape. That's the girlfriend or wife of Mrs. Good, who is really going back and forth with the officers.
Okay.
U.S. citizen. You want to come at us? You want to come at us? I say go get yourself some lunch, big boy. Go ahead.
Out of the car. Get out.
Okay, looks like there's a pet.
Yes.
Okay, and you said this is the mate of the lady
Yes.
that lost her life? Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Car. Get out of.
Okay, any observation at this point?
She's at this point there. When somebody was telling her to get out the car, she has already started to reverse anyway, and the officer's trying to tell her to get out the car. I don't know why he's telling her to get out the car. That's a whole nother conversation, because does he have probable cause to tell her to get out of the car, to detain her at all, or even to continue to question her? That's another argument that lawyers should definitely have. Let's go.
You hear the point of impact?
Yeah, you hear the point of impact. Now, they have body cams on. It could be because when you look at the officer initially, he had his phone in his hand. It could be simple as the phone hitting his hand and then that happening. but we don't know exactly what that is.
Okay, I'm just going to go back a little bit here.
Get out of the car.
What do you say about the way she's turning the wheel?
That's the other thing. She's turning the wheel away from the officer. She's not turning it towards him. And if you think about it, she's turning away to be able to drive away. And even after he shoots her, the car is pointed in a direction that drives away from the officer, not towards him.
Okay, shout out to you, Candyman, for being here. All right, let's go back a little bit and see if there's any other observation for you. You think that's the officer that says something like, "Oh," something like that?
I think so, but remember there were two officers standing there. So it might have been one saying whoa and the other one saying other one firing.
Okay, all right. So let's keep going.
Back with us, Michael.
Okay, all right. So that gives us that point of view. Any other observations you have from that?
Well, see, that's the thing, man. It looks like she's driving away from him. And I don't think that it's a situation where he should have feared for his life, but he's definitely going to say he feared for his life. But did he have to shoot her to the point where he basically blows her head off when she's driving away from that situation? And we're here doing immigration enforcement. Does that really require loss of life in that situation? I don't think it does. And I don't think that that is something that should have happened in that particular situation. Now, there's going to be an argument based on what you can hear about the bloop bloop, and you hear about some of the what some people are going to say that the officer was hit with the vehicle. But with that being said, I feel like that there was no need to shoot the lady and take her life based off of that. But with that being said, you have some people that feel like to justify their politics and justify their support of this administration and Mr. Trump, that they feel like that was a justified shooting. But shooting a woman, an American citizen, in her head while doing immigration enforcement, I think that's just crazy to me.
Okay, very good. I'm going to try to bring up another video in regards to this. Maybe I have to see if I have the right one here. I'm not sure. Give me 1 second. Oh, here we go. All right. So let me bring this up. Okay. All right, we're going to look at the front view. I want to get your take on this. I don't think we had this view when I had the last show with you, so we're going to get to it.
They're approaching.
Yeah,
okay.
This is ICE agents just pulling up.
Okay, so everybody could focus on the far right of the screen here. Let me just bring this up for 1 second here. All right, so, okay, here we go.
Here, the vehicle is.
What do you think about that? You may have to look, I'm going to play it again.
Go back again.
Pulling up here. The vehicle is
Lower
right
right.
there.
Man, it's tricky. It looks like he's hit. I can't really speak as an expert, but I'll show it to you again.
ICE agents just pulling up here. The vehicle is
Lower
right
right.
there.
It looks like he takes some impact. That's just my point of view. I'll show it to you.
Yeah, it looks like a little bit of a grazing there.
ICE agents just pulling up here. The vehicle is
Lower
right
right.
there.
And
But then again, it's so far away. I'm just saying. From what
Yeah,
I
it looks
see.
like a grazing, or he could have been pushing
happened so
in because the vehicle moved. It's just we just don't know.
Okay. All right. So as far as I'm not sure if you saw the video when it was like a helicopter view, but it seemed like there was a lot of blood on this sidewalk. Did you see that view?
Yeah. Yeah.
Right. I just wondered, maybe we don't know exactly how that happened, but
I think we have an idea how it happened. When you shoot somebody that close into a vehicle in the driver's side, I would imagine that everything was, and with the way she wrecked, I think when they pulled her out, there was no clean way to pull her out.
oh, okay.
And that's just the unfortunate part of it all.
Okay. Wow, this is devastating. Do you think it's going to change anything as far as ICE out in Minnesota at this time, or not really?
I think it is, because I think the citizens of Minnesota, they're going to be on watch for this. When somebody gets killed like this and you have federal government playing a part in that, I don't think the citizens of Minnesota, they're going to do their own public watch right now. Everywhere ICE goes, they're going to be telling everybody where they're at. Anytime they show up, they're going to be told where they're at. This is not going to be an easy thing.
Some people are saying that perhaps these groups of individuals, just like the lady who lost her life, who's participating in some sort of watch, that they're funded by individuals such as George Soros. You know, you hear these rumors online. What do you think about that?
I think that what people have to understand is you have a president that doesn't seem to care for people who did not vote for him. Whether somebody's getting money from somebody or not, there's going to be an opposition, because it seems to me, and let's just be honest about it, he's attacking big cities, Minnesota, Dallas, Houston, Chicago, Portland at some point, LA, big cities and states with Democratic mayors, or a large African American or a Latino population that did not vote his way. So when you have that, you're going to have a lot of groups organizing to try to combat that, because they feel like the federal government is not just acting on that they're really doing too much.
Okay, so I'm going to try to just pull up one other video here and get your take on it as well. I'll see if I can get it here. Let's see. Okay. Yeah, to the stage. Okay, so I'm going to play this one. It's a different view.
Approaching.
Yeah,
Okay.
This is ICE agents just pulling up here. The vehicle is
Lower
right
right.
there.
It happens so fast that it's hard to see what takes place in this particular video, but that is the.
Get the fuck out of our neighborhood.
Wow.
What the fuck? Dude, what the fuck?
I just want you to see how the officer doesn't appear to fall, or I just want you to just focus on the officer once he.
Officer, dude. Hold on.
So he's shooting. He's upright. You know, you can see him. He's the farthest guy in.
And he gets off 3 shots. That's something you got to think about too as well. He was able to get off 3 shots. Think about that.
Yeah, I'm gonna finish out here.
What the fuck? Dude, what the fuck?
He's not limping from what I could see either. So, I don't know.
See, that's the thing. I mean, I don't think she's driving away. I mean, are you fearing for your life? She seemed to me to be driving away. How are you in fear for your life if she's driving away? I don't understand that. But with that being said, you got some people that are going to say, "Oh, she hit the officer. He fell for." No, did he fear for his life? Was it serious bodily injury at that point? He fired 3 times and shot her in the head as she drove away. And that's just, to me, I'm never going to be comfortable with that. To me, I don't think that you had to do that. But with that being said, there is a way legally to try to justify using Minnesota law. They have a lot of laws that literally put the officer in the position of his impressions of what was going on, kind of lead the situation. when I say his impressions, if he felt like he was in imminent bodily injury situation or death, that he can make the move to be able to use deadly force. A lot of Minnesota law gives the officers leeway to do that. But with that being said, there's still going to be an argument about how serious and was there a threat of serious injury, bodily harm, or death in that situation. So that's still going to be an argument that people are going to have to cipher through.
Have you ever been in the kitchen, maybe getting something out of the fridge, or you're cooking and something fall on your foot?
Yeah.
Right? What's the first thing you do? You start hopping around?
You start hopping around going, ouch.
Right. It's weird that you don't see any of that type of reaction out of him, correct?
You don't see that kind of reaction out of him, which is interesting. And the fact that he followed up with the, he called her effing B right after. And what my experience is, you're not doing that because your life's in danger. You're doing it out of anger. You're doing it out of retaliation. And that's not what you're supposed to do as a law enforcement officer.
Now, on the flip side of this, right, do you think, because a lot of people are saying he was in front of the vehicle, she was turning her wheel, but do you think in a split second you have the capability to really determine that she is going another direction and not straight into you?
And see, that's the argument that the other side is going to make. But when you're turning your will away from somebody, I would think that they would have enough experience and training to know that, somebody's driving away.
Okay. Gent says, now do you all understand ICE will come for any of us?
And see, that's the thing. That's the concern that we have. When the other side makes excuses for this that has happened, that doing immigration enforcement, if you're in this situation and something like this happens, they feel like they're justified in shooting you and causing you to lose your life. And that's something that is very concerning as a regular citizen. And that's just concerning. I mean, if you're an ICE officer, why are you walking up to an American citizen to do anything in the first place? They're American citizens. You're not doing ICE enforcement at that point. So those are the type things that I have serious concerns about.
Okay. Butch says ICE officers can make arrests for federal offenses they witness or for felonies they reasonably believe are occurring, which includes obstruction offenses committed in their presence.
I get that, and they can do that. But when it comes to making an arrest, it's not just that they made arrest. I mean, they shot somebody and caused them to lose their life. Shot them 3 times and called them an F and B word as they drove off into a pole. That's not something that's justified as far as I'm concerned.
Okay, very good. A lot of people are so intense when it comes to this and adamant about him getting hit and not getting hit. Do you think this is ever going to go away?
No, it's not. I think it depends on what side of the political realm you fall on, is how you want to see it. America's extremely divided. Our enemies, the enemies of America, are just sitting back watching this, licking their chops because they know that we are in a situation where there's nothing that it seems to me that can come together to unite us at this point. So I think that I don't see that this going away. I just think this is going to be a continued fight between the left and the right. And when somebody gets blown away like this, it's not going to help it any.
Okay. Shadow Pop says officers are not trained to put themselves in front of vehicles.
That's what I thought too as well. Like, what part of his training tells them to get in front of a vehicle that may move? I don't understand that. But with that being said, once again, it seems like he was already pulling his gun out. It seems like he was already getting prepared to use it. And my whole deal is, if you're telling her to get out of the car and you're pulling your gun out, like, why are you pulling your gun out? She literally just said, I'm not mad at you, dude. So she's not being antagonistic or threatening. So why are you already drawing your weapon before he even got to that part? I don't understand that part of it. That's something that I have questions about.
Ghost says, asked why he wants to be mad at cops and protect the criminals seems backwards.
It's not that I want to be mad at cops. I have law enforcement that are actually in my family. One just retired. Was a DPD officer for a number of years, worked for the DEA, worked for the federal government. I want officers to be safe, but I also want the officers to not violate citizens' rights. And I don't want officers having to shoot and kill people. And that's a concern I have. And then try to justify it. That's not something that we want of our police officers. Protect and serve, not be in a situation where somebody gets killed. That's just the way I look at it.
Christine says he had his gun out before she tried to leave.
Of course. So it looks like he was ready to use it anyway. And let's not act like they were not already mad at her and her wife. Let's not act like that they did not have some kind of disdain for her already. I mean, if you shoot her 3 times in a moving vehicle and call her F and B, you already didn't like her before you had the situation. So let's quit playing games about that part of it. They wanted to get something out of her. They wanted to show her, and they did.
Christine says there's people that are undocumented. Not everyone is here illegally.
I get it. I definitely understand that, but in their situation, they kind of knew who she was. They knew she was an American citizen. And I think that there's something to be said. You don't deal with American citizens like that, but they're citizens here. So you shouldn't be treating them in a particular way. And I think that's also part of the equation here.
Okay. Rogue makes a good point that I think should be expounded on. Said before using deadly force, especially against someone in a vehicle, officers must consider the dangers to innocent bystanders and themselves from out of control vehicle or stray gunfire. When he pulled the trigger, you notice the other officer jumped out of his pants almost, right?
Yeah, because he probably wasn't expecting that to happen. In addition to that, if you shoot at somebody 3 times in close range, driving a moving vehicle, that's going to put people in danger. As you see, she crashed into 3 cars or 2 cars and crashed into a light pole. I mean, if that car would have been pointed down the street, man, some people could have got killed and hurt uh, that were not even involved in this situation based on how he shot this lady.
Okay, very good. Jen says people are being taken. We can't let them take us when they want. What do you think?
And see, that's the thing. If you're doing immigration enforcement, we can understand that, but that's an American citizen that you shot. That's somebody who's here legally. That's somebody who had a legal right to be in America, who's an American citizen, who's here to do that to that particular individual while doing immigration enforcement. I don't think that was the way to handle that situation.
Okay, I saw an article this week that is mostly liberal women that are out fighting causes for things of this nature. What do you think? Okay, it looks like we may have lost you, Calvin. Not too sure. Okay. All right, guys. So we're going to give Calvin a moment to perhaps go out and come back in or what have you. I'm going to go through some of the comments and try to make sense of what's happening here. Frank is back again from our earlier show. Thank you for the continued support. Says, what are the officers' rights in that situation? Okay, when Calvin comes back, we'll definitely go over that with him as well. Let's see. It looks like he might be still there. Okay, anyway, we'll see what happens. Okay. Jen says he was told to stop stepping in front of the car. I did not see that. At what point? If you could point me in the direction, I'll pull up the video. You're saying that another officer told the officer to get out in front of the vehicle. I would love to see that. I'll have to go back and look keenly for that. DJ says it's amazing. Okay, we have Calvin back. It looks like okay, you were gone. We can hear you now, Calvin. You're good now. Are you there? Okay, let me just take them off until we figure it out here. Calvin, are you there? Okay, we'll figure it out. if you can hear me, you may have to go out and come back in. All right. So that's a StreamYard type of deal. Okay. All right. So we have him back now. Okay. Oh my, you're duplicated. Let's see here. All right. So let's see if we can. All right. Are you there? Can you hear me?
Sorry about that. We had some technical difficulties.
All right. Seems like we're beyond that now. Okay, good deal. So let me get you back here. All right. So there was a comment that I found to be directed to you. Frank says, "What are the officer's rights in that situation, Calvin?"
What I think he could do is really step to the side. Now I get the fact that he felt like maybe there was some issues with her driving towards him, but I think that when you use deadly force as an officer, if you're going to shoot into a moving vehicle and there are other vehicles out in the road, and you're shooting at a woman and you shoot 3 times and she pulls away, um, I think that was too much. Uh, if it would have been one bullet, I understand, but he shot 3 times. Um, like, if you shoot once, what is the issue with shooting 2 additional times? I mean, I think that one bullet I could have saw, but he fired 3 times, man, into a moving car, and not only did people get hurt, she died, and the vehicle crashed into a couple of vehicles up on the street. Or if it would have kept going straight, man, there could have really been some issues. So I think that the use of deadly force was he just went too far. I don't think that in his training that they teach him to jump in front of vehicles. And even in that situation, I don't think that they would teach him in that particular situation to unalive someone in a moving vehicle.
Okay. Brian says he knew exactly what he was doing. He was calm, cool, and collected.
And that's another viewpoint. When he takes his weapon out before she even gets it into drive, he's already possibly anticipating shooting her. In addition to that, after he shoots her, he calls it the effing B word, which tells me that he made it personal and it wasn't just law enforcement and business. And it seemed like he was ready to do that even before the alleged making contact with him.
Okay. DJ says she was interrupting ICE operations all day long. She was told several times to vacate the area, and she pushed it too far.
I understand pushing it too far, but does it justify someone losing their life because of that? I don't think that it warranted that.
Okay. All right. Jen says she was unalive when the car took off. They put him getting hit on the fake video. He shot her. He did not get hurt.
And that's a whole nother thing within itself. I mean, do we even trust our government anymore under the Trump administration to even say that video is the right video? Like I'm not trustworthy of this particular government. So it's very unfortunate that this had to happen. It's very unfortunate that a lady in American City lost her life behind immigration enforcement. But that's just my opinion about it.
Okay. Brian says even more reason he was agitated and had already planned out how he was going to shoot her and get away with it.
And see, that's another avenue that somebody will take, because they're going to say that he was already agitated by her behavior, and he was going to show her that she couldn't talk to him like that, and he was going to show that he had a power and authority over her, and he decided he was going to use that power and authority to unalive her, and that's just very, very unfortunate.
Okay. Richard says he was trying to keep her hubby in view.
Once again, that's a lot we got to think about. I mean, at the end of the day, let's be honest and we'll just have a conversation about the part that nobody wants to talk about. He knew she was a lesbian. He knew she had a wife. And people that seem to be like this ICE officer don't like people of that particular lifestyle and persuasion. And let's not act like that did not play a part in probably what he did that day. It was bigger than just, I feared for my life. It was like they were arguing. He felt like he had been disrespected by this lady. And let's not act like that her orientation did play a part in this, because I think it did as well.
Okay. Jen says his own phone showed she turned the wheel.
Bingo. She's turning her will away from him, and that's just something that, when you look at it, is very, very unfortunate when you look at it all and see what happens.
Have they explained how it's the officer's phone? Like, how does he have a phone? He's shooting. How's all this happening at one time?
But see, that's the thing. That's what makes me wonder. It's like you taking out your phone to video her, and then you got your phone in one hand, you're shooting in another. Shouldn't you be just moving out of the way and helping the officer try to apprehend her if you're trying to pull her over? I don't understand all of that.
Okay. Brian says, gents, do you know he got hit 6 months earlier and drug 50 yards, got 30-something stitches. Wonder if this has become a learned response on his part.
I think that played a part in his response too. He had been in a situation where he was drugged. And I think also when you are in that situation, is it best to put our officers who have had that happen back on the streets and put them in those types of situations? That might not have been the best situation to put them back in either.
Okay, Brian says, well, which is it? Was he scared for his life, or was he calm and cool?
See, that's the thing. That's what makes you wonder. I mean, he was able to get 3 point-blank shots, and I'm not for sure, but they look like they all connected inside of that vehicle. So that's something that we got to think about.
Okay. So there's been another occurrence, another incident. Would you like to speak on the other one that happened out west?
Mm-hmm. Let's talk about that. Go through what happened, Mel, because I heard that 2 people were apprehended while ICE was doing immigration enforcement. Is that correct?
Yeah. The facts have been somewhat sketchy, to say the least.
And these alleged people were part of Tren de Agua. Is that correct? Tren de Agua.
Yeah, that's what they're trying to say.
Yeah, and then what happened? Did anybody get shot or hurt behind it? I heard a lot about it, but I've been focusing on what happened in Minneapolis.
Yeah, I've been hearing several different stories too. I'll pull it up for you and we'll go through it. So
Yep.
we'll switch up and bring it right back. I have a question about tomorrow in regards to the civil case with L.A. Reid.
Yes.
What should we expect? A full trial, or is it possible that they could settle, in the morning? Or will this happen pretty similar to Sean Diddy Combs' trial?
They could possibly settle. I don't think LA wants to be in the public eye like that, especially after what happened with Diddy. And LA is still extremely active in the music industry right now. But with that being said, he also might want to protect his reputation. And with protecting that reputation, he might not want to settle. I don't think it's going to be a one-day trial. I think there may be a chance to settle this. But with that being said, LA might not want his reputation hurt. And he is still very active in the music industry, still well respected. So it just depends on how willing L.A. Reid is willing to go through this trial. He might fight it all the way to try to save his name. But with that being said, don't be surprised if this thing settles.
Okay. And if it settles, then we could arrive at court and hear that it might not proceed. It's very likely, right, with a civil case?
Exactly. Very likely. And at the end of the day, you got to be extremely careful, because some people that are in a position of L.A. Reid, man, their reputation in the music industry is important. And also, he may not want his personal business out there, because there have been rumors that a lot of people in that industry live alternative lifestyles. And with living those alternative lifestyles, some people don't want all this other stuff to kind of pop up and hit them.
Okay. Brian, and getting back to this other case, Brian says a soldier who is used to being in danger wouldn't be scared. That's if the officer is a former soldier.
And that's another thing. You know why I'm a big candidate of not having these ICE officers out in urban areas doing this kind of enforcement, because a lot of the times these officers don't know the lay of the land. They don't know the neighborhoods. They don't know the communities. A lot of these guys have not been trained in large city urban environments to be able to carry out these missions. And whatever training they get, to me, is very minimal. And I think it's a dangerous situation for the officers as well as the public as a whole.
Okay, DJ's is pushing back, says everybody's scared. It's a human characteristic. I don't care who you are.
And that's true. But with that being said, is the best situation putting ICE officers in urban areas and urban jurisdictions that they really don't know the lay of the land to try to do operations like this with a mask on? I don't think it's the best situation. I remember watching a video about 2 or 3 weeks ago. ICE officers saw this lady walking. They pulled up on her. Hey, what's your name? Are you American citizen? Will you identify yourself? The lady started running, and she ran home. And her husband, she ran in the house, and her husband came outside and to say, "Hey, she's an American citizen. What are you guys doing?" I mean, you got 3, 4 big men following her, asking her if she's a citizen. She literally had to run home, and her husband had to come outside and tell them to go away. She's an American citizen. And that's something that you got to be careful about. Is it really best that our ICE enforcement agents are out in large city areas doing stuff like that? I think that's kind of dangerous.
Right. So on Friday, I was in federal court for Luigi Mangione. We're down to our last roughly 20 minutes or so. So I figured we could get into that a little bit and have you break down some of the things I saw and heard.
Mm-hmm.
In the original state hearing that lasted about 3 weeks, they brought in pretty much most of the officers who participated that day about a year ago in Altoona, Pennsylvania, when he was arrested. This time around, they were petitioning the judge to have a hearing to basically go through the same setting where the officers are coming in to discuss certain things. But the judge was pushing back, saying that it's not really needed because I guess the prosecution is not trying to use the journal, not trying to use the items in the backpack from the McDonald's point of view, because the argument that the prosecution is making that the judge laid out so nicely is that eventually a warrant was obtained, and they read basically a memo that in Altoona, Pennsylvania, when a person is arrested, their items will be inventoried, right, and photos taken. So at that point, the gun, the journal, all of these key points of evidence would have been discovered anyway. So the judge is like saying, I don't think the prosecution need all that. It sounded like it was trouble from what I heard.
Well, this is the thing. If he was going to get arrested by using other means, and what the prosecution probably did, they probably briefed the case, and they probably put up case law that said, hey, we were already looking for him. There was already things that were going to lead us to being able to find him and stop him. And based on the fact that we were already going to find him, stop him, or that based on the fact that we were going to detain him, we were going to inevitably discover the journal, the weapon, if it was in the bag, any plans he had, if it was in the bag, any evidence that he had was in the bag. They were going to have to do an inventory of that anyway. So what they were going to say, it would have been discovered anyway, just a little later, and they would have been able to use it because it would have got discovered later anyway. Because when you do arrest somebody, if they're in their car, they have a bag, or they're carrying a purse, you're allowed to inventory their things to make sure that they get all their stuff back. That's something that's going to happen either way.
One of the things that the prosecution had mentioned that they wanted to have this trial set from day one for the federal case. So they wanted to walk away with the trial date. They pushed for September if this case is just normal, But if it's a capital case, they want it till January because there has to be some jury selecting committee involved in all
Yeah.
of this. Is that normal?
Break that down. Yes, it is. When you're picking for a capital case, it's a huge jury pick. Like I'll give you for example, when you do that, say in a Texas state court, a regular jury pick typically has about 70 potential jurors, 70 to 75 potential jurors. When you do a capital case where there could be a death penalty, or it's a capital murder case or a capital offense, what happens is they can bring in hundreds of people, and then they hand out these questionnaires, and there's a whole policy, there's a whole process in trying to pick those jurors. And matter of fact, typically, I give you an example in Texas, you're doing a capital case, you could have 200, 300, 400 potential jurors in one room because you got to make sure that you get a fair jury for both sides. And there's a lot that goes in when you're picking a case to determine whether somebody's going to live or not. So if it's one of those, there's a lot of additional work that needs to be done. There's a lot of additional questionnaires that need to be done. There's a lot of additional motions that need to be done because the result, if he does lose, could have ramifications that can cause him his life. So there's just more work to be done. And the jury selection process literally can take up to, instead of taking 2 or 3 days like it does in a regular case, or 2 days or a day or two in a regular case, jury selection in a capital case can take 6 to 8 weeks.
Here's a question I have for you. Why is there a need for state and federal cases in New York when at best he might be looking at life in prison?
They want, because it seems like now, where is Luigi from? Is he from New York? Or did he travel from somewhere else?
Maryland.
Once again, he traveled from another state to New York. So you cross state lines to commit a murder. You track somebody and cross state lines to commit a murder. So that's why there's a need for a state and federal prosecution. Because they want to show other folks, man, if you're going to cross state lines to kill somebody, the Fed's going to get you.
And then also he has cases and charges in Pennsylvania as well that after these 2 cases end, he'll have to go sit for those.
Mm-hmm. And that's the thing. So when you violate laws in several states, that's why there's a need for a federal case, and also the state prosecution. When you violate laws in a particular state court, they want to be able to get their pound of flesh too as well.
How does that work as far as his attorneys representing both cases? Will they basically charge him separately, or how does this work when you have double cases like that?
Typically, when you have double cases, you're going to do the federal case first because the federal system works on a point system. So if you were to have convictions in state cases, they could use those state cases to give you a harsher federal sentence based on what the guidelines are. So typically your attorneys in state cases are going to let the federal cases go first, and then they'll fight the state cases. But of course, they're going to charge you to do both. But typically the federal cases get moved on first, then the state cases get taken care of last.
What do you say as far as the public giving over 1.4, 1.5 million so far to cover his legal fees?
They hate insurance companies. We all hate insurance companies, especially because it seems like that they try to take your money when you're paying the premiums, but when you need the care, they're not there. When you have an accident, you got to pull teeth to get your claim paid. When you have an accident, they want to slow pay you. I've been victim of an accident recently. I'm hurting right now as we sitting and talking. But once again, nobody likes those insurance companies because they always try to extract more and give less. And so when you look at healthcare in America, where you had an individual making decisions on people's lives and literally delaying care for people, knowing that if he delayed a certain amount, that the person would die and couldn't even contest it, and using that as part of the equation, that's why people are giving money.
Okay. Jen says, wasn't there a video of him doing it? Okay, I think we're losing you again, Calvin. Not sure what's happening here. All right, so we'll just give Calvin a few moments to see if he can work that out. Gents, yes, there is a video in regards to the incident that occurred. So I'm not sure if you're saying that to say, well, it's cut, dry, and to the point, Actually, there's a 2-hour video. Actually, in the video, it actually shows him maybe 3 to 4 minutes just laying there on the street with no type of help at all. So, yes, there's a very damning video, which a lot of people feel like it should be cut and dry. Sky says Trump needs the Charlie Kirk treatment. Wow, that's something. Okay, we have Calvin back. Okay, maybe not. Not sure what's happening here. All right, Calvin, if you're there, you're not there. All right, so we're going to give you a few more minutes to try to figure this out. I'm not sure what's going on.
I'm back,
All
my
right.
man.
Okay, all right, cool. So thank you.
Yeah, so that's kind of how that works.
Okay. All right. Stella says double tap the screen, like, share, and subscribe to the channel. Okay. Sky says not saying what happened to Kirk was right, but he's basically saying Donald Trump needs the Charlie Kirk treatment. So, okay. All right. That's
Wow.
pretty tough.
Be careful with that.
Jen says unaliving anyone is wrong. Okay. So we have some pushback. I want to try to see if we get some more questions here. Okay, AI Smart Cities is saying that protesters attack a truck in LA. So I guess there's breaking news right now. So there's so much turmoil out there everywhere you turn around. Coast Cider is back. Nice to have you back. Says MAGA, you must understand that Jonathan Ross will be tried by Minnesota. Okay, so what do you think about that?
I think that definitely will happen. But what's going to happen is the federal government is going to move it to federal court. So even those people in Minnesota who think that he's going to get charged using a Minnesota jury, that's going to get moved to federal court. The Supremacy Clause of the United States Constitution is going to get that moved to federal court.
Okay. Now, being that we have all the National Guard already on the ground, do you think that's going to make a difference? It seems like these riots are still charging forward uninhibited.
And that's a concern. I mean, what I think we have in this country right now is you have a president that is definitely making sure he's going to take care of the constituents who voted for him. But at the same time, it seems like he's seeking retribution against those who did not vote for him, who are in large American cities that did not vote his way, that are in blue states, that are in blue areas. And he is really, really ramping it up when it comes to people in those areas. And he's doing it strategically and specifically. And that's dangerous because a lot of people in America are not going to put up with that. They're not going to sit still and to let that happen. And so that's going to be extremely, extremely concerning moving forward.
Do you think that we could see a big change with the next presidential race? They think that J.D. Vance is going to make it, but what do you think?
I think we could see that. I think Trump's going to try to run again, honestly, but I don't see J.D. Vance being the next president. I don't think that he has the following that Mr. Trump has, and I don't think that they're going to approve. I think even in his own MAGA world that they're going to even approve of his wife with the way that they think about race and politics for a lot of people over there. So that's just one thing that's going to be there, and we got to watch. But I don't see him running for president. If he does, I don't think he's going to win. I think that people are afraid of what Mr. Trump's doing, what MAGA is doing, and what the Republican Party is doing in America. And I think there's going to be a change. Okay,
very good. I want to just bring this up here briefly just to see if we could take a quick look. We're down to our last 6 or 7 minutes. All right, I'll add this up here. Okay, let's see what's going on. So there's some sort of rally in LA and a U-Haul truck drives through the rally, I guess. Well,
the yellow signs say.
Let's see if we can get some.
This is via Shangul. This is the before of what happened.
He shut up. 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 He shut up.
All right. So that was according to Sean Gould, that was the before. And then after what happened, after that, this is the video of the crowd going forward, of the truck going forward from that location, I guess, or near that location. Now, I don't know if the driver.
All right. So that gives you an idea what's happening with that. I guess they're trying to say people were hit in some way, but I guess we'll get to that later. More and more trouble. It seems like every time we're going live, there's new violence happening while we're live.
And see, that's concerning. And one thing I will tell people that are protesting, and I'm not taking it for anybody, but if you're going to stop a vehicle and you're going to start busting the windows, you got a driver inside, got a lot of protesters around, you're in a dangerous situation. That driver does not have a duty to remain there. He's going to be able to take evasive action to be able to get out of there. And if somebody's hit because of that, he's going to be able to justify that behavior based on those evasive actions. So if you're going protesting and you got a situation like that, do not bust the windows of U-Haul trucks. Do not bust the windows of vehicles. Do not block vehicles from passing through. When you do that, it's a whole nother game. And you're going to be justifying some things that are going to happen to some people. That's very dangerous. That's not smart. That's dangerous. And I don't think it gets the means to the end that you want to get to.
Okay. Paul says the anti-ICE people are using their cars as a deadly weapon more and more.
I don't know if that's really the case. It may be the case, and there may be situations where that's happening. I just think that ICE in urban areas, in certain situations, I don't think that that's the best place for them to be. I think that there needs to be some training. I think there needs to be some strategizing that run things a little different. Because what I'm seeing is I think that ICE agents are being placed in harm, and the American citizens are being placed in harm by some of the stuff that is happening in those situations.
All right, very good. So we're down to the last few minutes. You want to take a moment and give us some insight about what's happening with the future, especially with L.A. Reid and future shows?
Well, listen, everybody, we're definitely going to be ramping it up. We're going to be doing more shows during the week. We were thinking about going out to Minnesota. Unfortunately, I could not attend the funeral services of from friends, but we're going to actually start going on location moving forward, which means when something hot happens in the city that we're not in, we're going to be ramping this thing up. The weekly legal review with Calvin Johnson and Mel on Watching the World 777. We're going to actually be going and meeting up in person and traveling out to some of these locations. Of course, Mel is going to be present in a number of cases. With L.A. Reid, that is something that we're going to take a look at. That could be the next Diddy trial. Unfortunately, it's not a criminal trial, but it's civil. But it definitely can have some of those same components that Diddy had. But with that being said, look forward to more shows with the weekly legal review. We're going to be doing 1 or 2 times during the week, and we're going to be meeting here again, 7 p.m. New York time on Sunday, 6 p.m. Texas time on Sunday, and we're going to ramp it up. We want to be your source for weekly legal news and advice. And so just come check us out. Come grow with us. We try to be as unbiased as possible. Of course, like I said, you have a very, very polarizing situation involving Renee Good. We try to be fair. We try to be upfront. We try to provide the people with the information that they need. And we want you to continue to rock out with us and support us. And once again, tune in next Sunday, 6 p.m. Texas time, 7 p.m. New York time, to the weekly legal review with Mel and Calvin.
Thank you.
Different voices, but the same song. Loving a world where we all belong. Kindness leading the way, breaking the chains. In the symphony harmony of love, the thing remains. Embracing diversity, brighter days in sight. Watching the world sharing love and light. Hearts beating as one in our peaceful flight. Colors of harmony, painting the night. United we stand in love's pure might. Watching the world sharing love and light. Hearts beating as one in our peaceful flight. The colors of harmony, painting the night. United we stand in love's pure might.